All right, picture this for a second. Imagine stepping into a classroom, say 20 years from now, the teacher's standing up at the front, and they ask the most incredibly complex, difficult question you could possibly think of. But crickets. Literally, no one raises their hand. And it's not because they slacked off and didn't do the reading. It's because their AI tutor just whispered the exact right answer straight into their earpiece.
I mean, it paints a pretty wild picture, right? And it really forces us to stop and ask a big, fundamental question. What is school actually for? Seriously, think about it. If everyone, everywhere, can pull up the exact right answer in mere seconds, well, our entire educational paradigm just has to shift. We simply cannot keep doing what we've always done. And that brings us to the core of our explainer today. We're going to be digging into this huge question. What are the things AI still can't teach? Because as you're going to see, the future of education is moving rapidly away from just gathering basic information. It's moving toward something way deeper. It's moving toward what makes us uniquely, irreplaceably human. Okay, let's dive right into this. Part 1, the end of information. So for generations, we lived in the information age. Knowledge was scarce. The teachers held the knowledge, the textbooks contained it, and honestly, memorization was a literal survival skill. But today, we're in the automated age. Information is basically unlimited. A student today can just ask an AI to instantly debug hundreds of lines of complex Python code or flawlessly translate ancient Greek. So information isn't the scarce resource anymore. Human attention is. Just knowing the facts isn't your main advantage. Knowing what to do with them is.
Which leads us perfectly into part 2, critical thinking and curiosity. First up is critical thinking. Now, we know AI generates answers at absolute lightning speed, but, and this is a big but, it doesn't guarantee truth. It can hallucinate facts out of nowhere or drastically amplify existing biases. So critical thinking is essentially what happens when you stand at a crossroads without a map. It's your ability to evaluate the evidence and think entirely for yourself when the right path isn't guaranteed for you. The students and lifelong learners who actually thrive in the future, they are not going to be the memorizers. No way. They're going to be the ones who can master these specific steps, evaluating evidence, recognizing misinformation from a mile away, comparing competing ideas, and ultimately thinking independently. Actually, scratch that. It's more than just thinking independently. It's realizing that asking the right question is now infinitely more valuable than just generating the right answer. And right alongside critical thinking is curiosity. Think about it. Every major scientific breakthrough in history, from discovering penicillin to inventing the smartphone, none of them started with an answer. They all started with a human being getting curious and asking, what if? It is like a tiny spark that becomes a wildfire. It's the fundamental drive that precedes all learning and discovery. Just let this sink in for a second. AI responds to prompts. Curiosity creates the prompts. Until we somehow invent an AI that suddenly gets bored and starts wondering about the mysteries of the universe, that biological, deep-seated drive to ask the initial questions, that remains entirely, uniquely human. The future belongs for sure to lifelong learners, not lifelong memorizers. All right, moving on to part 3, the power of collaboration. Listen, even the absolute smartest AI in the world cannot replace genuine human teamwork. Think about those centaur teams in chess or medicine, right? Where humans and AI actually work together. They consistently outperform AI working entirely alone. It's like puzzle pieces finally coming together. In the modern workplace, being the smartest person in the room matters so much less than being the person who can actually help the room succeed. The future is not humans versus AI. It's humans working with humans and just using AI to get there faster. These are intensely social, deeply human abilities. We're talking about listening, negotiating, building trust, resolving disagreements, leading people, and understanding emotions. I mean, an algorithm cannot negotiate a fragile peace treaty. It can't build genuine trust with a skeptical client. It certainly can't empathize with a coworker who is just having a really tough day. These incredibly human skills are exactly what will define tomorrow's success. This brings us to part 4, ethics and human judgment. As AI grows more and more capable, we are suddenly facing massive moral decisions. Should an algorithm be the thing grading a student's final essay? Or should a bank use it to decide who gets a mortgage? Ethics acts as our internal compass here. It's the moral judgment required to decide not just, can we build this thing, but should we? Education in the automated age isn't just about raw intelligence anymore. It is heavily, heavily about human judgment. So the crucial point is this: AI can recommend. Humans decide. Sure, an AI can crunch a billion data points in a second to suggest a really complex medical treatment. But a human doctor? They have to look the patient in the eye, understand their personal values, and actually make that final call. We desperately need people who can navigate these increasingly blurry lines.
Next up, Part 5, Solving Tomorrow's Problems. You know, real problem solving isn't just about finding the exit, it's about defining which challenges are actually worth solving, especially when there is absolutely no answer key provided. It's a lot like navigating a complex maze. AI can map out all the different possibilities within that maze at lightning speed, sure, but we, the humans, are the ones who must decide if we're even walking into the right maze to begin with.
And we're facing some truly unprecedented global challenges right now: climate change, healthcare inequity, eradicating poverty, managing all these crazy disruptive new technologies, or even unexpected crises. Look, none of these come with an answer key hidden at the back of the book. To solve them, we need humans who leverage AI to process data, but who ultimately rely on their own creativity, their adaptability, and their resilience to invent solutions that literally no one has even imagined yet.
And that takes us to our final section, Part 6, The Future of Learning. There is a massive misconception floating around right now that just because AI knows everything, human learning is somehow becoming obsolete. But the reality, it's the exact opposite. When information is entirely automated, our humanity actually becomes our greatest competitive advantage. So human learning isn't becoming less important at all, it just looks different. Because of this, schools absolutely must evolve. They just can't be factories for memorization anymore. Instead, they have to become incubators for humanity. They need to be places where we learn how to think, how to question constantly, how to work deeply with others, and how to make wise decisions. In short, education has to be about becoming the kind of person no machine could ever replace.
So let's bring this whole explainer full circle, back to that classroom we imagined right at the very start. If every single student already has the answer, we have to ask a much, much deeper question. When everyone in the world has access to the exact same AI, who will actually know how to use it wisely?
Well, the answer to that question definitely won't come from a new software update. In fact, it won't come from technology at all. It will come from education. The future is going to belong entirely to the people who never, ever stop learning. So, as we build this whole new era, we have to ask ourselves, are we teaching our children to simply be answering machines, or are we finally teaching them to be human? Thank you so much for exploring this with me today. Keep asking those big questions, keep collaborating, and whatever you do, never stop learning.